So now we're at the movie, which is the reason why I'm making this video in the first place. I decided to watch 1993's, I think, Wolf, starring Jack Nicholson and Michelle Pfeiffer. First of all, I didn't want this to be the third freaking werewolf movie in a row that I'd be talking about on this channel, so that's also another reason why I decided to include the other movies I watched. There's really not much to say about this movie except those last 30 minutes, which I will get to those last 30 minutes, oh my god. So I had heard of this movie, but I didn't really have much interest in it, despite the fact that if you go on my Letterboxd, you will see that werewolves, vampires, those types of movies, it's all over my Letterboxd. By the way, follow me on Letterboxd. Ugh. But for some reason, this movie, I just wasn't like that interested in it. I just kind of assumed that it was a remake of The Wolfman. But then Joe Blow Horror made a video about this movie a few days ago, and I watched it. Guess who's in this movie? Guess who else is in this movie? James freaking Spader is in this movie. The thing about James Spader, like, first time I saw him was Pretty in Pink. I think that's everyone's. And I was like, I don't see it. I don't see it. But then I watched Tough Turf.
Oh my god. I get it.
He makes every movie better, and this is no exception. But going into it, I was expecting a goofy werewolf movie. It was that for the last 30 minutes, but the first hour and a half was one of the most just boring, like, movies I've ever seen. I don't understand how you make werewolf Jack Nicholson boring. And like, listen, I know I'm not the target demographic for this movie. It's kind of targeted towards like older men. I'm definitely not an older man. Like, this movie truly like shows how important writing is and how much it makes or breaks a movie, because this movie like almost has everything going for it except the writing. It has a great cast. Special effects are actually pretty good. It's shot well. Like, it does everything right almost. It just shows how important writers are, you know? Like, so the first hour of this movie feels like it's the first act. And this is a 2-hour movie. Like, that's a problem. I felt almost all 2 of these hours. I really felt the first 90 minutes, but I will get to those last 30 minutes because those last 30 minutes were actually really, really funny. So Jack Nicholson plays this guy. He works in like a publishing firm or whatever, and he's getting demoted. James Spader's character is getting his job. And not only that, but Jack Nicholson's wife in the movie is having an affair with James Spader's character, because James Spader just almost always plays complete jerks, but he's really good at it, so you gotta give it to him. David Schwimmer shows up for like 2 lines. Allison Janney shows up for like a line. The guy from Frasier is also in it. The pacing in this movie is absolutely atrocious. First hour, so boring. I don't mind it when movies are like have a slow burn to them, but I feel like, I don't know, I feel like the first act should still be shorter. Like, I don't know. I could be wrong about all this, but it felt so off. And then things start to pick up the pace a bit when Jack Nicholson, I don't even remember his name in this movie. I know James Spader's name was Stuart because they said his name a bunch. Michelle Pfeiffer was Laura. I think Jack Nicholson's character's name was Will? I don't know, I'm just calling him Jack Nicholson. He's Jack Nicholson, let's be real. Oh yeah, special effects were also awesome because you literally have Rick Baker doing it, which, what a waste of Rick Baker, are you kidding me? Don't get me wrong, like, before the last 30 minutes, there are like a handful of kind of funny scenes. There's a scene where he like Jack Nicholson he's like kind of like he's crouched down on this rock and he howls. But the thing is, what makes it so funny is that this movie wants you to take this all completely seriously. This movie is taking itself so seriously. They won't even call them werewolves. They didn't say the name werewolf one time in this movie. Like they want you to take like, and no, I can't. I can't. I'm not saying werewolf movies can't be serious, but I don't know. I feel like when any movie tries to take itself way too serious, like, I don't know. And then there's another scene. Everyone talks about this scene whenever, like, the people who do talk about this movie. I think this movie actually does have a little bit of a following, like, not a cult following, but it does have, like, its fans, I've noticed. But there's a scene where Jack Nicholson and James Spader, they're at the urinals, and Jack Nicholson pees on James Spader's shoes.
No, I'm just marking my territory. You got in the way.
But none of that tops the last 30 minutes of this movie. Oh my god. This movie finally actually gains momentum, and it never stops. Jack Nicholson, he's like chained up in this barn, like somewhere. And then Michelle Pfeiffer's character decides to go to the police or something about... Listen, I was not paying attention for some of this movie. I was bored. But then she's at the police station and James Spader casually comes up to her and his eyes are yellow. This is the big werewolf reveal, guys. The thing is, he was bitten like near the beginning of the movie. Jack Nicholson goes, "Arr!" But the fact that there was no reveal, he's just casually walking into this police station and his eyes are bright yellow. And I mean, she's kind of freaked out, but she's trying to play it cool so she can get out of there. Which, by the way, Michelle Pfeiffer had no reason at all to be acting so good in this movie. She was so good in this movie. Oh my god. Can you tell this movie's fresh on my mind? Because I'm still dying over all this. So then James Spader, it continues. He goes and he talks to the detectives. I can't lie, I don't remember a single word he said in this scene because I was so focused on the fact he's just casually talking to these detectives with freaking glow sticks. And the detectives, they haven't said anything about it. They're just like, Not one of them is looking and going, dude, what's going on? Like, oh my god. So then he like leaves the room and then they're like, oh yeah, Laura, she left. And then I'm still thinking about it. There's this freaking hilarious... It's not supposed to be funny. It's not supposed to be funny at all. There's this really funny shot. It's like almost like The Office, which is funny because he was in The Office. Like James Spader looks up and the camera goes... Whoop. I'll put a clip here if I can. Editing Avery here. I cannot find clips of this scene to save my life. But... It must be seen, so I'm just gonna show it now. Blah 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 right around there.
She's gone. She left right after Mr. Swinton went in.
And I have not stopped thinking about that exact shot ever since I watched this movie. Oh my gosh. Okay, where was I? So Michelle Pfeiffer, she's now back at her like barn house. She lives in like a mansion and she has a barn with horses. There's a lot of horses in this movie. And the horses are always going to Jack Nicholson. So Jack Nicholson is in this horse cage and Michelle Pfeiffer is there. No, Michelle Pfeiffer, she's collecting her things. She's literally calling the airport. She's like, hey, I need a plane ticket. She's getting out. Like, she's gone. But then James Spader shows up, but he's driving a car. He's driving a car. And like, this man is on a mission. He's on a mission. I'm not exaggerating when I say he is the best freaking thing about this movie. He is hamming it up. You could tell he's having fun. Like, he's actually having fun. Like, please, Mr. Spader, add more fun in this movie. And oh yeah, he's literally growling as he's driving. Like, he's like, grr, like, it's so funny. So then he shows up. And by the way, he's looking rough at this point. He's no longer sexy James Spader anymore. And at this point, he literally has fangs and the yellow eyes and everything. And the security guards, they don't bat an eye. They're like, oh, like, what are you doing, sir? This is Ginger Snaps before Ginger Snaps. Because in that movie too, no one batted an eye when she was all, well, that's actually a great werewolf movie, okay? I'm talking about a bad werewolf movie. So James Spader pulls up and he kills the security guard. Now he's pulling up, and now him, Jack Nicholson, and Michelle Pfeiffer, it's mostly him and Jack Nicholson now. They're brawling it out on in slow motion, and they're clearly on harnesses. They're like flying at each other. I would actually watch the last 30 minutes of this movie again. Will I watch everything before? I will not. Like, no. But the last 30 minutes. By the way, the stunt doubles in this movie, they did a good job, but the director and everything, they did a really, really bad job of hiding the stunt doubles. I'm like, that's not Jack Nicholson. So there's this one shot in this scene. Apparently, they did it in a reshoot, and it cost them like a few extra $100,000. And it's him like jumping over like the horse cage stable thing. And it's like, was this really worth it, guys? So now you got Jack Torrance from The Shining, and you got Steph from Pretty in Pink, and the score at one point, it plays the saxophone. Why are they playing a saxophone during like this violent fight? I wish this movie was this entertaining from the first scene. Like, I wish it was 2 hours of just this. But then Michelle Pfeiffer goes pew pew, and James Spader goes ugh. And then the movie just kind of ends. Jack Nicholson runs off in the woods. I guess I think they imply he becomes a full wolf. I don't know. And then it is revealed at the very, very end, Michelle Pfeiffer is now a werewolf.
I can smell it. Smell it a mile away.
Or maybe she was already. I don't think she was. I don't know. The last shot of the movie is pretty good, but they linger on it for way too freaking long. I was literally sitting there going, all right, cut, fade, cut, please. So yeah, can y'all tell that this movie has been on my mind since I watched it last night? Like, it was so bad. But I couldn't stop thinking about it. Like, I don't remember, I couldn't tell you hardly anything that happened in the first like 90 minutes, but those last 30 minutes I can tell you pretty much everything that happened. So yeah, there was that. I wish there was better werewolf movies, but there's not, unfortunately. Seriously, why are there so many terrible werewolf movies? Like, this shouldn't be that hard to write. Like, it's a pretty simple premise. So this is also the effects of someone, me, who I grew up when Twilight was like my formative years. When I was a child, that was when Twilight was really big, and so all these studios were pumping out these werewolf and vampire things, and so I guess that had a formative effect on me. Can we bring back that craze, please? Superhero movies just ain't hitting the same. Can we please bring back the constant vampire werewolf movies again? That'd be great. Anyway, thank you for watching. I know this was kind of a spur of the moment video. I kind of want to do these more. This was fun, just sitting here rambling and laughing over like a dumb movie. Oh yeah, and it's also a supermoon tonight. Another reason why. Okay, this video's gone on for too long. Bye!